Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me here today. Appreciate you taking a few moments. If you will, like, share, comment on the post, and then if you like, you can join me in Genesis chapter 12. We'll begin in verse number 17 today. And there's a lot to unpack in this verses, and maybe you take some time on your own to look at it and think about them a little bit. I'll just maybe throw a few seeds, and then you can fertilize and water and harvest. All right, verse 17. But the Lord afflicted Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarah, Abram's wife. So Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this you have done to me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister, so that I took her for my wife? Now then, here is your wife, take her and go. And Pharaoh gave men orders concerning him, and they sent him away with his wife and all that he had. This again, there's a lot going on here. Really, if you slow down a moment, it seems pretty straightforward to begin with until we start to unpack it some. And one thing we see here is we see God's commitment to the kingdom. God was determined. He had made a commitment to raise up a great nation here, to make a nation of Abraham, and he wasn't about to let Pharaoh and all of Egypt get in the way. And so Pharaoh's taken Abram's wife, and God steps in. He sends severe plagues. We don't know what they were. I have no indication of what they were, whether there was something personally on Pharaoh, such as balls or something of that nature, or something on the land of Egypt. Don't know. But whatever it was, it got Pharaoh's attention, and he don't know. Again, we don't have a lot of details. If he just put two and two together, if he began to ask questions, if he questioned Sarah and she told him what was going on, we don't know. Again, there's a lot of details that are left out. But one thing that is very clear is that God is not about to allow Abram's flawed decision making, Pharaoh's lust, desires to anything to interrupt or disrupt his plan. Another thing we notice here is Pharaoh, in many ways, acts with more dignity, more integrity than Abram did. Abram's told this lie about his wife and claims she was his sister, but when Pharaoh finds out that that's the case, he says, no, I'm not taking another man's wife, and he gets rid of him. And so he, in many ways, he acts better than Abram did. But then the other thing we can see here is how one of the great warnings that we can take from this is here we see plagues fall on Pharaoh for really, again, I'm not saying the way he maybe ran his, don't know if he had a harem or what he had here, but don't know that was exactly the perfect setup. But it was Abram's decision. It was Abram's sin that got all these things set in motion, and because of the supposed righteous man, the supposed godly man, the believer, if you will, the believer and the unbeliever suffers. And it just reminds us as we look at this of the danger of sin, the consequences of sin that come about. And I hear people. You hear this a lot of times in many situations. Well, I'm not hurting anybody but myself. Again, we hear that in all kinds of people will use that answer. Use that statement when maybe for drinking or drugs or not wearing their seatbelt. We'll throw that answer out for most anything that we want to justify. But what we are reminded of in this story is that the consequences of sin, and I think we can see that played out in many places, in homes. I'll just talk about it for a moment on a much larger scale. I think as a whole, we can see that that our nation is suffering right now. The nation of America, I believe, is suffering the judgment of God. Not only because of the sin that's in our nation, but because specifically because of the lack of commitment, the lack of dedication, and let's say sin in the camp. As we see even the church itself and the sin among those who profess to be followers of Christ. And so we're reminded here of several things in this story, but the one I'd like to leave you with is just to keep in mind and to remember this idea that I'm only hurting myself is flawed logic. It's almost impossible to do something that only hurts you, whether it's health decisions or job decisions or what we think might just be a little small lie. It's almost impossible, I dare say impossible, to do something that doesn't affect everyone around us, your family, your friends, your coworkers, and particularly sin. Sin always damages. There's no way around it. We see that played out over and over. Jonah's bad decision. Look what happened. Because of Jonah's decision, everyone on that ship ended up in danger because of his decision. Pharaoh, the future of Israel, Sarah, Abram's servants, all these people ended up in danger because of Abram's decision to lie about his wife. Be careful of sin. As someone has said, and I may not get this exactly right, it always takes us further than we want to go, makes us pay more than we want to pay, makes us stay longer than we want to stay. Sin is serious. You have a good day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.